Welcome, everyone, to the Critical Music Club number 10, the All-Rockin Roundtable, a chance for musicians, DJs, music writers, and miscellaneous miscreants to meet and talk tunes. My name is DJ Bonus Stops, or Caps, No Brags, Just Facts, Shanghai's number 2 DJ. And this here, the CMC, would like to thank our friends at Raccoon Records, Shanghai's place to rummage records, and Comic Book Ren, China's oldest and bestest comic book store located in Chengdu. And today, our album discussion is the recently released album Millennial Garbage Preach by Zen Mother, an experimental electronic rock group in the USA-ish, UK-ish. You know, we'll see how that goes. But before we get to the roundtable, we'll meet all our critics. Please welcome our special guests, Zen Mother, Adam, and Monika. Give them a big round of applause. That's enough of that. All right.
Wow, it's so realistic. I was like, there must be pages and pages of people that I'm not seeing right now.
They're in the shadows.
Yeah. Is this being streamed live at an arena? Or where are we?
In the underground layers. So, Hey guys, how you guys doing? How are things going for you guys? Adam and Monika.
I'm really good. It was really bad.
I'm also really good.
We're both on an upswing. We're cycling up. It's good.
Fantastic. I know some of the people here saw you guys when you toured China last time. I even got my Zen Mother t-shirt on. Look at that. I'm all hip to the game and stuff.
It's nice and worn. And laundered. Yeah.
It's comfortable. But look, I'm not going outside again. I can't. It's not the afternoon, so do what we can. But how's been the album releasing? Have you guys kept busy with things?
Yeah, it's been great. Like, it's been a kind of emotional release. I feel like this album's been put on hold for a while just due to changing record labels and pressing plant delays. So having it finally be out is just like, it kind of felt like our birthday when it came out, which is kind of cute. And we've been working with some video directors for collaborating on music videos, and that's also just been like a really fun process to kind of like reapproach the music with film collaborators. And so I would say like the film collaborations and a few live shows, we've been keeping busy with this music still in some way.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Ultimately, it's just like a relief. What a relief, you know. I mean, just to have it off my shoulders. And now it's
fantastic.
Like out. See ya. Can say bye to it. Let it live its life. You know.
Yeah, and I've shared with everyone the music video for Order and some of the other clips. We'll definitely be touching on that a bit. So, I'm going to propose what I thought about this album, in terms of some of the lyrical themes and also some of the musical ones, and you tell me where I absolutely got it wrong, so you can correct me, and then everyone can learn from it. So, I watched the first track is Henry Matisse, and who I kind of associate with kind of rustic sort of paintings, very domestic. And then I also read in an interview you guys did about the music video Order, where you said it was about little Eddie, who's in the great documentary Grey Gardens, which I really enjoy, which is about this old socialite couple losing their home, this family living in this house, right? And then the album title is Millennial Garbage Preach. So would you say like a theme of the album is sort of the decaying of society, or this sort of society kind of falling apart in that way, the sort of looking back towards older themes of civilization? Monika?
I think that's great. That kind of sums it up a little bit. I think that the decay of the internal world is and an overemphasis on the external world is kind of like the main lyrical themes throughout the record. And so pretty much, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I don't know if it like,
cool.
I think it consciously, I mean, I'm not sure exactly if like the Henry Matisse, like, old world kind of, hearkening back to like a more, I would say traditionalism, like hearkening back to a more traditionalist kind of mentality is maybe even further back. What I was really and currently interested in writing all the lyrics for that record. So it's a similar concept.
Interesting. We might talk about that a little bit more, but I also want to ask that's kind of more the lyrical side, but in terms of the musicality, like um, with the music, there's the guitars that might start halfway through the songs. There's a lot of different sort of keyboard styles for the album that might weave in and out of one song. Let me ask you, Adam, this. When you guys were doing the music, did you kind of do it directly where you would want to insert instruments, or were you doing a sort of dub style where you would lay down a bunch of instruments and then take them away? Like, how did you approach the musicality of the album so much?
I mean, it was very much a pastiche of just different sounds and trying different things. I don't think we had one method that worked, but I certainly remember there being like almost pretty vague sketches of these songs, and then we pieced them together based on a lot of like tonal sort of decisions. So that's why the synths maybe come out of nowhere and they like have their own little identity, because like they were an idea that happened in the moment when we were listening through, and we're like, okay, that should happen here. But there was some dub elements, I suppose. We definitely like added a lot, but then as far as like editing, we didn't really take away too much. We kind of just left it all in. So, but I think initially we wanted to strip it back, and then just working with Randall during the mixing process, we were like, oh no, everything all in. So then it ended up being more like Phil Spector version of Zen Mother. So
this is your Ronettes album.
I
Is that
don't
what you're saying?
exactly. Yeah. I don't think it was the original intention. I know, but it happened, and I'm happy about it. So
cool.
Yeah,
Monika,
like BD,
like
BDE. I don't know if I can swear on this, but
say whatever you want.
Like big dick energy. Like that. We had like big synth energy, like big, like whatever the equivalent of that was synth design. And then also Randall, our producer, also had the same level, if not more, of that same big synth dick energy. So in a way, we were, it was actually an extremely like beautifully volatile, like intense and passionate synth design session, because we all felt really strongly about various sound design decisions. So when Adam says like it kind of just like became like all synths in, it was really just we were all really excited to track all the synths, and like we kind of married our two sound worlds together, because none of us were maybe humble enough to say goodbye to certain synth sounds.
Nobody wanted to let their baby go.
Yeah.
We all
Well, can you talk? I wanted to bring him up anyway, and you've mentioned Randall a bit. Can you talk about working with him? I know he comes a little bit more from the heavy metal world, right? Some of that a bit. Can you talk about that relationship and how that worked out more?
Yeah, I could talk about that relationship for hours. We have a long history, and like he's just a kind of genius sound man, and like one of my best friends actually. And yeah, he does a lot. His early career started with a lot of heavy music, like with Sunn and Earth records. and he spent like the first kind of 20-25 years of his career in Seattle, so it's like that really like doom Cascadian black metal like zone he was kind of in. And he's been branching out a lot lately, doing a lot of film work and working with, you know, even just like pop artists and indie artists and singer-songwriters, and pretty much runs the gamut across, you know, all the genres. So I don't know. I think we and I like, I mean, we all kind of like heavy music, and I think live it's actually a lot heavier. We because we use a lot of cabinets, and the sound is it's definitely heavier live. Um, and I think he approached it like in a non-heavy way, which I think was good. Um, and because he always likes to try something new, and has a new idea for different records he works on, and what kind of sound world he wants to go forward in. But yeah, it was like it was a very, very beautiful session, really intense, like uh, just, you know, strong energies, and like basically just people feeling really, really invested in creating the record, and like really just taking it to the next level, I guess, sonically. And I think everybody was just really focused and emotional all at the same time. So yeah,
Interesting.
he's just like fantastic to
I
work
think
with.
Randall's got an interesting style where he sort of pulls this heaviness out of you, even if it's not necessarily there. And I think it uh, if it doesn't sound, if it's not like directly metal, he'll make the vibe heavy, you know. So there'll be
Yeah.
dread. He'll like pull the dread out of you, and even like put you in sort of a headspace where you're able to kind of do that in a studio. So there'll be like intellectual conversations amongst like the tracking that like cause you to kind of like think about, I don't know, more of the existential dread.
Sure.
And
Well, you
then
can
like
feel that on the
and
album
then
a bit.
he'll immediately like throw you into the tracking room after he's just blown your mind, you know. So you're like, oh fuck, like now I have to, what am I gonna do? So okay.
Psychological manipulation. Very nice. So I'm going
Yeah.
to ask about
That's a good
one.
producer for you.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to ask about one track and especially one part of it. And I'll play a little bit of that right now. And then I'm going to open it up to everyone else and we can talk more about the album. If you guys have a comment or a question, write it, put your hand up on the side in the comments and we'll get to it. So I want to ask you guys about this, especially this drum pattern at in this song, and it's track number 7, and it's Fugitive. So here it is. You heard a little bit of it there. I thought the percussive and just sort of the rhythm, it's, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a rhythmic driven album, but there's a bit of a waltz in Little Jesus, and you have that sort of off-kilter drum pattern for Fugitive. Can you talk a little bit about um, the sort of percussive and drumming elements for the album a bit?
Well, that pattern in particular was like, it was originally a just an MPC beat that then we got Sheridan, our drummer, to play. Um, and I think it was informed by the weird, um, if you will, demented piano melody, the bum bum bum, and I think it just filled in around that. But I don't know, Monika, do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, in general, like we kind of wrote all these songs and did all the drum programming with the MPC
Mm-hmm.
2000. Um, and and then we started playing with Sheridan, and she had really great drum ideas as well. and we kind of just tried to marry the two, and work out what she would play and what the drum machines would do. So yeah, just finding out like what, just kind of starting with the drum programming and then working with the live.
That synth, or I'm sorry, snare sound actually was a weird Randall trick where he actually had Sheridan play the bottom of the snare, so where the actual snares exist. So she played on top of that, and that gives it more of like a weird piccolo, I don't know, that really snappy feel. And she played it really loose, which is cool because, you know, the drum machine version was just like on a grid. So when she played it, she so interjected like just a little bit of chaos and humanness in it, which I really like. Yeah.
That was really nice. Like, I really feel like translating, like writing something on guitar and then playing it on piano, or like writing something on piano, playing it on trombone, like trying to reinterpret something you've written on a certain instrument and then interpreting it with the other one, I think lends itself to just really weird and interesting ideas that you wouldn't normally come across. And I think that happened with the drum programming and the drums.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I have a bazillion more questions, but I want to hear from these guys. I know Brad has a question. Brad, do you want to go for it?
Yeah. So it's interesting that you brought up the percussion, because the like stuff that jumps out at you the first couple listens, like the synths we were mentioning, and especially the vocals. After a couple listens, I started to hear more of these like sprinkled in interesting percussion ideas, and one of them was on the track we just talked about on Fugitive. But at the end of Sleep, there's like a blast beat kind of thing where this noise wall comes in, and I always thought that was a really interesting part. I don't know if we can play it, but if maybe you have any ideas about that part. I thought it was a really a unique part of the song. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that
I'm
up
gonna
since
try
we're
to.
talking
I'll
about
try to bring it
percussion.
up. I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
bring it up from where it was in the song, but we'll see if I can find it real quick.
So that was me. You know, the note repeat button on an MPC? It's like one of the best things about an MPC. And so I just
And no
basically,
other drum machine. I mean, some of them have it, but they don't allow you to like live quantize play with it and switch to different like to different durations while you're doing it live. I mean, I've never found one that could do it. MPCs.
the single greatest reason why the MPC is incredible. But I think that pattern was just like that's obviously like a chaotic moment. So I just remember kind of writing it by improvising, I suppose, just on the note repeat. And I was just smashing buttons in and, and then found something that I stumbled upon that I like. It's yeah.
Maybe some of Randall's heavy metal early influence or something with that. I don't know.
Randall wasn't involved at that point, but
Okay.
but he certainly made it sound good.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Like Monika, like I know in Little Jesus, I know I remember us talking, and you have a bit of a classical background. And when I heard that song, it's almost got a waltz rhythm to it, and there's almost like a harpsichord vibe to it. Was that influenced from your classical background a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I really gravitate towards the kind of classical harmonic sound, and I love waltzes. Um, I love 3 and 6, 8, and I love that world. And
It's got a big 6 energy to it.
definitely, yeah,
Big 6
yes,
energy.
big 6 energy, exactly. All about it, all about that. which is why actually I like juke music so much, because it's all in six, which is really exciting. And yeah, and I think definitely like pretty much in most of the music I make, like there's definitely a big classical music element in there, just from playing a lot of classical guitar when I was younger, I think.
Cool. Who's got a question next? Otherwise, I'll just call on one of the people. We've got time for a few more.
I was going to say I got a question, but
oh, go for it, Dave. Yeah, go for it.
Well, that track "Super" I think is my I think it's the best. It's my favorite track on it, and it's great. And the bit you described with the drums sort of breaking down, I thought you had I thought that was live drums, very good. And the singing is brilliant. Is so compelling, really. It's lovely.
Thank you. I had strep throat through the whole session. It didn't really but weirdly I sang probably the best I could. Like so it's a really strange combo of those two things.
Sort of
really
ethereal.
emotive, really good, yeah. Eugene, like you come from like he puts on these goth nights here, and he does a lot of things like that. What did you think of the album? What were your impressions of it?
I liked it. I'll be honest, I only got a chance to listen to it today. I liked Order. Order was a good tune. It reminded me a lot of Empathy Test. I don't know if anybody knows Empathy Test, but it was like a slow version of Empathy Test, I found. And I could really listen to your album on if I was smoking reefer. I guess a reefer album. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Highly
That's great. Yeah.
I wish.
It was quite slow, but I enjoyed it. It was good.
Okay, maybe one or two more questions left. Dan has a question. Dan in Argentina.
Hi. So good stuff. Love listening to the album. So I guess two questions. You touched on it a little bit, but like, how does this translate live? So because I see you're a core group of two people, and you said you had this kind of like big cabinets and go for a big sound. So what does it translate to? Like how do you play live on stage? And like other than just drum machines and loops and stuff, just that kind of stuff. And what is the? I guess I come from a more like playing in punk bands, playing in rock bands. So I know the energy that when I'm looking at the audience, I can tell when they're really digging it. When you have music that's a little bit more sinister, a little bit more kind of the vibe that you guys are going for, how do you know that, like, what's the vibe that you really are excited to see in your audience?
Good question. Fear, crying. Everyone's crying.
Just like dumbfounded stares of shock and awe.
You can feel energy in a room, like, and then you can really like I don't think anyone needs to be physically moving at all. I think you might not even need to see anybody. Everybody's eyes could be closed, and like you can still feel that people are there with you, and you're all focused on the sound in the room. Like that's when I know something's happening and like a connection's really being made with an audience, and that's such a beautiful feeling. It's kind of the only reason why I want to play live at all, because loading amps kind of sucks, and like that's really what we're after, just like this feeling and tapping into this energy force that we're all like tuned in for.
I think a common something that's often said to us afterwards is like it was a mass hallucination that everybody was a part of, because there's a lot of different elements of like just sound swirling around in a room, and especially like in a live setting where there's chaos that we can't even be we can't even control. So it's like just the acoustics of the room provide this like hallucinatory experience, and I think that it dumbfounds a lot of people, so that a lot of people just end up sitting still, swaying, and then afterwards being like, I feel like I just saw Jesus, or whatever deity you want to fucking call it. But that seems to be successful. Not always the most the easiest to tell if we're doing a good job, but you kind of just have to wait till the show ends and people will be like, that was cool.
Yeah, like I said, I had Zen Mother. They came over for a tour in China, and it was a group, especially they were supporting their first album. It wasn't the biggest shows, but it was the shows that people asked about a lot. I think it really affected people, and it's too bad because of COVID we haven't been able to have them back. But I do hope we are able to get them back. I've got a couple people want to say things. We're gonna cut it off to two people now because we got supervillain stuff to talk about as well. Let's go to Cody and then back to Eugene, and then that's going to be it. But Mr. Cody, sir, go for it.
Hey, yeah. I had a question. Doing my research, finding out about you guys. I was there for that show here in China, and it was a really, really amazing show. And so it was really great to, hear that you guys were coming in to talk today. And something in my research of your new work, I kind of went through the catalog of music videos. I'm a, film composer. So being really connected to the visual aspect of music is really important to me. And I noticed a lot of really, really great work in terms of the videos. And I was wondering just, especially this recent one for Order, and Eugene had just mentioned Order, so I'm glad that you brought that up. It was really, really, kind of thought-provoking, really cool, and there was a couple parts that really stuck out to me, and I was just wondering about your process of going from the musicality, because as a musician, you just kind of sparky stuff just comes out sometimes with no thought process. But I was wondering if you guys had any kind of visual references that you guys went to when you guys started making the videos, or did you work with other people who had kind of ideas? Did you board it out? Because there was a couple of parts that were really seemed very, very interesting, especially in Order. It was about 1 minute in the bathtub scene, and then she's sliding down the stairs. It was really, really a beautiful moment and really connected well with the kind of a chaos of that moment where the guitar and stuff came in, and it moved from being more synth based to more rock and heavy kind of aspect to it. So I was wondering if you guys had anything to say about your connection between the visual aspect of your work in relation to the music.
I would have to say that the connection is purely kind of a human to human aesthetic connection. With the directors that we've worked with, we definitely didn't have anything to do with the actual narrative or cinematography of anything in the last two music videos from this record, but just kind of had really emotional talks with the director of Order, Mu, and kind of just aesthetic vision talks where we would brainstorm about different narratives, but he's kind of a genius man, and so we just put it all in his hands, and he ran with it, and just so not a huge part of the actual creation of it, but just kind of me knowing him and respecting his work, and us just kind of really believing and trusting in him and knowing he would do an amazing job was kind of the main connection.
Well, fantastic. We're going to cut it off there. I mean, there's a lot more stuff to talk about. Your first album is great, and I know you guys have done some scoring for silent films, and Monika's got some other projects, and I know Adam does too. But for now, that's all we got. So please give these guys a giant round of applause. Even the people down in the basement, please clap. There you go. All right. Boom. So good stuff. Dara Otzi, everybody.
How'd you do, I? See you met my faithful hand now. He's just a little brought down because when you knocked, he thought you were a candy man.
Don't get strung out.